half, literally, of that of the faculty. Therefore, 4.5% for the staff is 2.25% as far as dollars were concerned. So we advocated either a fixed amount for the staff, which finally ended up as the case. Each time we had to go through this with the rest of the vice presidents, so the staff ended up getting a fixed amount plus the raise, and that somewhat equalized things. I got to tell you one more story about the staff. This was in Veal's time. There was a little gal over in Old Main. God, what was her name? She wasn't the president of the staff council, but she was one of the gunners, and I was over there as vice president of research. So she comes over to me and says, you guys have lots of awards, the faculty, and even graduate students. There are awards for graduate students. Staff's got nothing. And so she said, there's got to be some place where you could tap for money to get a staff award. So I said, let me check. So I checked, and the answer was there wasn't. So I said, I tell you what, I said, I think this is so important that we will give a staff award. In fact, 2 staff awards every year. One to the feds had it arranged. So you got people who are on salaries and people who are on a fixed something, or what, I forget what the exact terminology was. Mm-hmm. So we said, we'll give an award for each group, and the selection and so on is in the hands of the staff council. So this gal said to me, she knew Veal well, and she said, I talked to Don about this, and Don said he couldn't do anything to help us. So she said, I tell you what, you and I are going in to see Veal and tell him that we've got the thing solved. I said, nah, not that. And she said, I insist. So I said, okay. So we go and see Veal and she says, Jerry's going to give 2 awards, so forget any requests from you. And he said, what? And Veal said, we'll give an award. And she said, nope, we're not accepting any awards from the president's office. So that was,
whoa.
And this started out, I don't know when. In fact, one of the first awardees was Marion, the gal who became dean of the Episcopal Church.
Oh, Marilyn Engstrom?
Marilyn Engstrom. She was working in the what department was she in? I guess in recruiting and dealing with our youngest son to get another non sequitur. And between his senior at Christmas of his senior year, high school, over here at dear old Laramie High, I'm sitting at the table. He was taking courses at the university, and I said to him, "How are you doing for getting enough credits to graduate next May or whatever?" And the answer is typical, namely, "I don't know." So I said, okay, we're going to go find out. So I went over and talked to the principal, and they looked him up and looked at him. He's short of credits. They would not, the high school would not give credit for the courses they were taking over here. So he was short of units. So he had 3 options. He could either A, drop the courses he was taking for the second semester and take some high school. B, go to summer school. C, take the GED test to get his degree. So we looked the situation over, and he was taking junior level math courses. He was a real math whiz, and so he wasn't going to drop any courses because they were, full of. So I went over and talked to Marilyn and said, well, David is going to matriculate here at the university at the second semester. And she said, he can't do that. He hasn't got his degree. I said, okay, where does it say that that you have to have a degree? And it actually doesn't. So David matriculated. And David doesn't have a high school degree.
Really?
High school diploma.
How about that?
Has a PhD from Stanford, but a high school diploma. So he came to the university for the second semester of what was his senior high school year. And it was great because he double majored. He majored in electrical engineering and he majored in math. And the extra semester enabled him to meet the requirements of the two colleges and get out in time. But anyway, back.
That's an interesting story, though.
Well,
I haven't heard.
Yeah, well,
you think it's a given, but it's not.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, okay, I said, you better make damn sure you finish up here because otherwise you're dead. But he did finish. He got a fellowship to Stanford, got his PhD in electrical engineering. So that worked out. But Marilyn was one of the two in the first group that got
I can see with her personality.
The award. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. And she followed David all along. Anyway, the staff council and the which later became the staff senate and the faculty senate were and are very valuable contributions.
Do you think did they have power then and power now?
Oh yeah. They had influence, and they could ask any member of the administration to come to hear what they had to say and all this and all that. And it was appropriate. The other thing that happened, of course, was that was very important was that a tenure committee was elected. I mean, there was no tenure per se. It was the President's Advisory Committee, which was appointed by the President. And as a matter of fact, I think 5 delimited that. And a tenure committee was organized, and it was elected by the faculty.
Okay.
And there's some interesting stories about that, too.
Well, I know, because sometimes they would override you deans. Right? Is that correct?
Well, yeah, but I mean, and that would happen, and it, that's in the course of I overrode departments, and so I get overridden at times. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure I got overridden very much, if at all, because I tried to be pretty straightforward with the thing. As I think I mentioned early on, when I got here, there were 5 or 6, 7 people who had been tenured without having finished their degrees. And, and that sort of thing, everybody let that slide by. But once we got the tenure committee, that was a wholly different thing. Once upon a time, a guy named Bob Jenkins, who was in zoology, was a member of the tenure committee. Bob Jenkins he got his PhD at Iowa State, and he was the first guy that I finally got hired in the zoo department who wasn't a wildlife zoologist. All of the others, if you wanted to know when a moose was snoozing up in Yellowstone, they could tell you. But as far as modern biology was concerned, there was nothing. nothing. So